Open session public meetings are subject to being videotaped. Your image and voice may be recorded. So we have our first appointment at 7:15, so how about if we do some minutes? I've got the minutes from April 6th, where you and I were present, and Chris was with the FinCom.
Take a look. I looked at the 25th, I didn't look at that one. But if you let me look at it when we're...
You looked at the 25th.
Oh, I wrote this, didn't I?
You may have dictated them or something.
Actually, I bootlegged them off the FinCom because that was a joint meeting with the FinCom that I wasn't at.
I gotcha, okay.
And so that means Chris, the clerk for the FinCom, wrote those minutes. Not that you can vote on them here, but...
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they were excellent minutes.
Okay, yeah, I'm okay with those. We can vote on.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
We have the minutes of July 11th, where we were all present.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Mary sent these out at 4:30 in the morning. I don't want to know why you were up. Did you have a chance to read the minutes for the 25th?
I did.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve?
Second.
Any comments?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Doke. We have a motor vehicle for fiscal year 15 for the sum of $93.96. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Move to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have a motor vehicle refund for fiscal year 16 for $228.75.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Stuff when we meet every other week to get your lines down, isn't it?
Yeah.
We have a letter to thank Keith Clemmer and Tom Steele. They helped the UPS man who was not feeling well.
Yeah, I saw the emails on it.
Do I hear a motion to approve the letter?
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Did you ever get a name to this person?
Unfortunately, it's kind of, you're sending the letter to the person?
No, to Keith.
No, so unfortunately, we can't release the name.
Okay.
He was one of our, or is one of our regular UPS delivery people. So Mary, if he tells you later on.
Right.
I just didn't know if you knew him. You'd probably just know him from his deliveries.
You hear that?
I wasn't in the building.
We have a letter to the Deputy Commissioner, Director of Municipal Affairs at the Division of Local Services, that is saying at our annual town meeting, the town of Berlin voted to appropriate $52,250 from electrical inspection offset receipts and $36,000 from plumbing and gas offset receipts. We need to send this every year. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Yep. Move to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have a letter from our police chief recommending that we hire Donna Hathaway as a part-time dispatcher. She's a recently retired career dispatcher from the town of Bolton, and she can work up to 960 hours per year as a part-time capacity.
So we've had two of our recent part-time dispatchers have left. Tom Wester, who had been a dispatcher here for years, received a promotion in his job and has left, as well as David DiMattia, who was got a full-time job that conflicted with the hours. So we're really just trying to plug through till what looks like November now. Donna is very willing to come on board. She comes highly recommended. And not only does she have 32 years of dispatch experience in the area in the town of Bolton, but she also helped Bolton through their transition to regional dispatch. So she would be a great resource for us.
Sounds like a great idea. Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Clerky signs that. We have a letter says on August 8th, that we need to vote to appoint a member on the Council on Aging, Kate Bliss of 59 Randall Road in Berlin. I presume
That'd be a term through May 31st, 2018.
and the Council on Aging
Yes, I recommend her.
recommends her.
Yes.
Move to appoint.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Our police chief has given us a job description for the position of sergeant. John Geis is retiring effective November 1st, and he's beginning to look into the process of promoting a new sergeant.
Yes, and when I started, I looked, and we do not have a job description for that position. So what I did is I looked through several neighboring communities and some of the descriptions I had some experience with in the past, and I put together a description that I think will work for us. I've already given that to the union, and they've reviewed it. I think it's something that will work, and it'll be a work in progress as we move forward. It may need some tweaks down the road, but I think as we start this process, it's something that we need to have in place.
Did you go to look at it?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I thought, I'm
Looked good.
certainly not an expert in that, but there was nothing in it that jumped out at me as inappropriate. It seemed complete. I would move to approve it as an initial description going forward.
And second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Did the union actually approve it, or just
So what
basically
they did,
said?
they actually had a meeting with their higher-ups within the state, within the union, and they actually looked at it, and they had no problem. They
Okay.
actually told the union that they don't generally get involved in those type of
No.
matters, but that I took some feedback with them in the beginning, going through it. So.
Cool.
Okay, we have a temporary, someone who's willing to be the temporary inspector land use clerk, and we are currently acting as the personnel committee here. We need a letter certifying and approving Leanne Leahy for an additional, she'd be working more than 19 hours a week. So she has this job would be 19 hours a week, and she puts in 10 hours at the 1870 Town Hall. So it's a non-benefit, we're creating a non-benefited post.
She would be benefited because in the aggregate she'd be earning more than 20 hours a week.
But she's discussed this and said she does not want it. So
She still get vacation and other benefits that a benefited employee would have. She doesn't need the healthcare benefits, but she would otherwise be getting.
I was under the impression, reading those emails, that she could temporarily work this without.
Temporarily, yes. And
Yes,
then
and that's what we're approving here, is a temporary position.
actually, there's a, that might have been an earlier draft. If you flip that stack over, Larry has appointed her temporarily. So June said as long as, I didn't have the answer last week to, at what step was he going to try to hire her at? Since he's hiring her at step 1 in her grade, there's no need for personnel to review it. Sorry, that was the update today. We did have
Okay.
information from Larry last week immediately. So it's retroactive to last Thursday when she started.
So we don't need to approve it because it's step 1?
Yes, that's right.
Where is that coming from?
When that post was created, it was created with a grade and step range. And so he's starting her at the already approved lowest step, step 1. Anything above step 1 would have required personnel review per June.
Oh.
Now, what I don't know is, I believe Julie's already above that, so Julie's leaving at a higher step, right? So, and Leanne will be starting at a lower step, to step 1. Unless you want to revisit that.
Does that sound, I mean, I don't have a problem with her doing this
No.
temporarily. I don't know about the rest of this.
Well, the rest of it would be, the first thing would be approving job posting. I hope I have that in the right order. There's a job posting that needs, right there, right on the very top of your left hand, that first page. That's approving the job descriptions that Larry can post the vacancy and seek applicants for the permanent job.
Okay, so we're seeking qualified candidates for the position of Inspector Land Use Clerk, part-time position, 19 hours, grade 5, step range 1 through 6, which is $16.37 through $18.29. It's a non-benefited post. A full job description is at www.townofberlin.com, and you're going to post this and ask for resumes in by noon of August 29th.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay?
I'll move to approve the posting.
and the job description, or,
The job description is not changing,
okay.
It's
Unless-
just the posting.
yeah, just the
All
posting. Personnel needs to
Second.
approve the posting.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Okay, it's 7:15. We get to go to the yellow stack. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 people here who we are going to discuss the wiring inspector screening committee. Does anybody, do they have any paperwork on this? Or I guess-
Everyone's application is there in order of their appointments.
Okay.
Those are all the appointment letters, presuming. So if you just keep flipping everyone's applications.
Okay, Kevin. Come on down.
All right.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and why you're interested in this screening committee?
Well, my background, agriculture, as most of you know, greenhouses, and basically I know how it has to be wired to be safety-wise, and I want to make sure that whoever we get for a wiring inspector doesn't become overzealous in making, unnecessary wiring requirements for the greenhouse. Like to see basically like to see a Berlin resident as the wiring inspector, if there's any that applied for it.
Do you know who's applied for it at this point?
No, I don't.
Okay, why don't we read because I have a couple questions that are related to the applicants for the job.
You want me to read the names off?
Yeah.
So we have Paul Kelleher, Dennis Montero, Peter Casello, who lives in Bolton. The other people are from Berlin. Derek Neely from Northborough, Henry Wheeler from Berlin, Charles T. Flynn from Berlin, and Wesley Durant from Berlin.
Do you have any family or business connection with any of those?
Not at the present time, no.
Have you in the past?
Yes, I have.
I bet they're no longer any continuing.
No, they're not.
Okay. Do you feel?
I have a family member who is electrician or working to be electrician, so if I needed an electrician, I would use my family member.
So do you feel that that connection would in any way prevent you from, doing sort of even-handed and
I would not
fair?
use that against any of the applicants.
Or for?
Or for, you're correct.
The
I'm not,
one-
yeah, I'm not,
I thought you were answering it like Hillary Clinton is. That.
I'm not a good politician, so.
Well, that was actually a pretty good political answer, so. Okay. I mean, that's certainly one of my main concerns, is because I want to be sure that if we have a committee that, people are not in there because they have a particular dog on the hunt.
Yeah, I
we want-
understand.
Yeah.
I had a question that's blown away.
Sorry.
My question was sort of the same as Thomas's.
I guess my question is, you're talking about your greenhouses, but in general, we do want someone who enforces.
Correct. I understand, but I don't want someone who comes in there with a big hammer and say, okay, you have to have this, you have to have this, even though the code says you're in code, but I want you to have more than the code.
More than the code. Okay.
So you're talking about a balanced approach and reasonably grounded in the code, if I could
That would be,
paraphrase what you said.
yeah.
Okay. What else would you look for in somebody?
well,
Have you done a lot of interviewing or anything before?
no, I have not.
Okay. It's okay.
One thing is, when you are interviewing, are you required with this type of interview to ask the same questions of each candidate and
Yeah, well,
that kind of thing?
yeah, when the committee gets together.
Well, give you some
we'll
instructions,
go
but
to some-
obviously, yes, when you get into it, we'll talk about questions, and, obviously, every interview is a little different, but you pretty much have to follow the same
Right.
Same
script for it, yeah.
structure, same
Yeah,
questions basically to the same people.
yeah. And you can do any time of day, daytime?
Yeah, that wouldn't be.
Daytime's not a
yeah.
problem.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any other questions?
I don't think so.
Okey-doke.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Henry Pacific.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good.
I missed you guys last week.
Oh, you came last week?
No. Okay. Well,
Well, ditto.
same sort of question.
Same question that I asked. Have you, basically, do you have a business interest, have you worked with in the past or contemplate working in the future with any of the applicants?
So yes, I've done work for at least 3 of them in the past. I know them, at least the local ones. I'm interested in finding somebody that's comfortable with the town, up and current on their current electrician's license, and up with the continuing ed that's required. So make sure the credentials are good, and listen to see which candidates would be the good ones to narrow it down to. Also, my personal situation is getting a little bit older, been doing some community stuff, like giving back to the community, and able to do a little bit differently than what I've done in the past.
And you don't feel that you don't have any current business connections or doing work with any of these?
Currently, no.
No. And not how long ago in the past?
Over 3 years.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it would be awkward, obviously, if we appointed somebody who then, had to conflict themselves out on the 3 local, persons. And you feel that none of those business connections would,
Sway me?
yeah, would sway you or, cause you any difficulty in assessing things on an even basis, okay?
When I deal with an inspector in a different trade, but on the same note, so I know some of the things that make one more qualified, or, I don't know about qualified, but more easier to get along with. And knowledge.
Okay. Have you done any interviewing before?
only in hiring employees for myself, not for somebody else.
Okay. And you said you're available anytime except Monday nights?
I think I said Monday
Tuesday and
nights,
Friday.
Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday mornings.
Yeah, I mean, he's here Monday nights. He's here Monday night, Judy.
And apparently we can get permission to get me out, so Monday night could be available too,
Tuesday and Thursday and Friday morning?
mornings.
7:30, okay.
Okay.
Okay,
And with enough notice, I might be able to adjust those, but that was on the first initial to see, you know, what was gonna happen and how things might proceed.
okay.
Okay?
You have any questions?
No, you've covered
No, of
it.
course, I'm familiar with your background and what you do, so. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. James Royer.
How we doing?
Hey, fine, how are you?
Not too bad.
Do you want to give a little background?
Well, I can tell you, back in the 1970s, I was an electrician.
Well, I mean, anything that kind of gives you some
See, I was something
background
in the
on.
1970s, and I can't remember what it was.
I mean, I have your resume, but if you just, why you feel you have some knowledge to help on this?
Well, number one, I'm available. I'm retired, so I don't really have anything else to do. But I've been living here in town now for 4 years, and I'm just looking to see how I can help out. It was one of the things listed. I have some experience in the electrical world, and I've hired a lot of people.
Great. And my question about, do you know or have you worked with or any?
My depth of knowledge is that when I bought my house, there was a sticker from Wheeler on the sub panel of my garage.
Okay,
Other than that, I don't know any of those gentlemen.
okay, great.
So you said you've done interviewing before, some interviewing before. And your times availability? I don't see that.
I'm not available between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m.
So we'll try to accommodate that.
Other than that,
I don't think Larry is either.
other than that,
I don't know, Larry's here at like, what, 5 or 6 in the morning?
Yeah, sometimes because occasionally if I come in to sign warrants and I haven't done it the night before, I do it on my way out in the morning, so it's about 5:30, and I've seen him here a couple times. So.
Okay, so you have, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Let's-
sounds
you have
good.
other questions?
Thank you.
that was easy.
Yeah.
William,
How are you?
Good, you?
Good.
Good.
okay, we'll start with any experience with these people.
The only one I have experience with is Henry.
Okay.
I have not dealt with the others.
And just in the capacity of having hired him as an electrician, or
I had known in the past as an electrician.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And you don't feel that experience would cause you to be,
No.
you know,
No.
find difficulty coming
No.
to a fair judgment among multiple people? Okay.
And do you want to give us a little bit about your background?
I work for myself. I do home repair work. I'm a licensed contractor. I deal with electricians throughout all my jobs.
Okay.
Most of them supplied by the homeowner. If I need to supply one, then somebody that I know.
Okay. And have you done interviewing before?
Just like when I have to find a plasterer or some guy, I'll check him out, find out, ask questions about it. Then I'll talk to the guy and see if I can see some of his work.
Okay.
And in your contract, you don't regularly employ any of the people on the list?
Oh,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Okay.
And so you have some kind of background as
So-
far as knowing what
So, trying to get somebody knowledgeable, that's done the job is something that, I would think, I just, if you don't mind me asking a question, is this went out to bid, correct? Or not? I don't know.
These are, yes, this has been advertised as a job, and these are
We
the
posted
applicants.
the job,
Yeah.
the terms of the job are,
Yeah.
payment out of the fees and so on. So this has been appropriately posted and everything, and we have received these applicants for the
Okay.
position. Yep.
Yep.
And so when you guys will get, a copy, obviously, of the materials that we sent and so on. And you know that Larry will be working with you and be sort of de facto chair for this.
Okay.
Yeah, the building inspector.
Yep.
Unless you guys decide you want to name somebody else. Okay?
Okay,
Yeah.
Sounds good.
all right.
Okay, so what are the times that you're thinking, you know, I work every day, so.
Oh, yeah, I
I'm
didn't ask you about
trying
times.
Trying to work that schedule.
Yeah.
Well, the building inspector wants to have this.
Do it during his hours, which is daily, and probably he hits the road to do inspections 10:30, 11. So it would be morning, but it would be by appointment. It wouldn't be just hitting you cold. It would have to be,
So we get some notice to be able, okay.
Yeah.
So is that, you
Yeah,
would be
yeah, I
available?
could make that happen.
Just basically, we're talking probably the first half of the morning, a few mornings.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Do you have any other question?
No?
Do you have any other question?
No, I guess.
Any of you guys have any questions?
So Henry's the assistant right now, correct?
Henry is acting.
Acting assistant? Yes.
Acting
Well,
electrical
electrical
inspector.
engineer, yeah.
Okay.
Inspector, rather.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Dennis Montero is the assistant, or the
he's the assistant.
assistant.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what we want is a committee that's gonna give us 2 to 3 semi-finalists. And then we would, so since you're a subcommittee appointed by us, you can interview them. But once you hand them off to us, we have to interview them in an open session, which would probably be before the camera.
So this gives you a chance to vet them, and as I say, we'd look for maybe ideally 2, but if you had, you know, if you thought 3 was, you know, was appropriate, but we could handle that.
So we'd have to, one of the selectmen would work with you, or we would, as a group, would come up with what qualities are desired for those particular candidates, what we're looking for. And you'd have to come up with some kind of scoring matrix or somehow where you're gonna be able to compare apples to apples when you talk about them, and we'd have questions. I think we have a...
In the back of that packet is a set of questions on hiring a plumbing inspector. I know it's not exactly the same thing, but it's just something I grabbed at the moment that just gives some questions that could be used for a matrix. It's similar work, even if it's technically different.
So we said before, you need to ask the same questions. You have to ask everyone the same questions. Now, their answer may lead you down a series of different questions, but you do need to have...
A uniform framework.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And then, you know, when we will have a liaison from the Board of Selectmen who will be your contact person. Yep.
Is it to fill just an electrical inspector, or are we also helping find an assistant inspector for?
Guess we'll
That's a good question.
Well, it depends on the
It's
outcome,
just,
since both of them are in the hunt, so.
Yeah,
Well, if we hired the assistant, we'd definitely be looking for an assistant. If we didn't hire the assistant, I don't see that we need to change that.
If we're looking for 2 or 3 candidates, is a thought that one would be a lead and one would be a backup, you know?
well, no, I think we're gonna leave the assistant as the
Yeah,
assistant.
what I was saying was, we have an assistant. We don't need to replace the assistant unless we end up hiring the assistant as
The inspector.
the inspector. So I think it's a good point, and I think as you're interviewing for, the inspector, I think it would be good to keep an eye on a recommendation for an assistant in the event that we hired the assistant. You follow?
I mean, typically at the end of this, you're gonna give us some kind of ranking. This was our top one, number 2, number 3, and then we'll interview the top 2 or 3. So, and there are, 7 candidates.
Did you have a question, Barry? Oh, I thought you
He has
saw
an
your hand.
appointment. He has an appointment.
Ah. No, I thought I saw you raise your hand. Ah.
Do we have a deadline?
No. Well, the appointments were through, as they annually are, May 31st, so no.
Okay.
Whenever you choose to fill it. Everyone's status quo for the moment.
I think perhaps I'd like maybe to have a recommendation by the end of October. That gives a couple, that gives a couple of months after Labor Day.
Okay.
What is the deadline for the applications to be in?
That's
June.
That's fast.
That's
Oh,
that-
it's passed.
Yeah.
The deadline was June 13th,
Okay.
so.
So maybe aim for the end of October, does that seem okay?
Fine with me.
That's
It's a little late.
You said Labor Day, so you want us to get our work done in August then?
No. I was saying, and we may want to debate that, I was saying October, to give people 2 months to do this after Labor Day, rather than, trying to run around in the last couple of weeks of August. But if you think,
Or,
I mean, it's-
Whenever you're ready. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
the end of October.
I would say the sooner the better.
yeah, I agree. I think, I was thinking about as a latest, we'd like to have something by the end of October. But yeah, absolutely. If you hit the ground running and you finish your interviews and you have a recommendation on the 15th of September, then make an appointment, come in, talk to us about it.
Yeah. And you need to work with Larry, the building inspector, and coordinate with him, because he'll be the 5th person on the committee. So,
And
and
then
then,
connect everybody by email, and they can start scheduling.
Mhm.
Who's
Okay.
the liaison? Would there be one?
well, I think it should be either Thomas or Chris, because I'm gonna be gone for almost a month.
I volunteer to be liaison for the rail trail, and
There you go.
I think it's been dumped in
Already been.
so I could do it because I don't participate as a liaison. I'm attending all those
I'm
meetings.
not an expert in wiring, but
Takes a while.
Neither's
I'd be happy to
Thomas.
help out.
Well, I mean, all you really need to do is structure the,
The wiring?
so you have to go and pass
Are
it.
you gonna
Do
put a
the,
questionnaire together so we all,
look at the questionnaire and bring it to them, and,
I can make it a matrix if you want.
yeah.
Yeah,
Or just re-email me
okay.
that information.
And Larry should be able to help you put it together.
Yeah, no, I mean, my anticipation was, again, as the liaison, if you need help, if you have questions, whatever, you talk to Chris. My feeling was if we've got, we can give them the police questionnaire that we gave them, and we can give them the plumbing inspector, and in your first meeting, you guys and Larry could put together the questions. I'm sure the plumbing, the outline for the plumbing inspector's got to be pretty close to the sort of thing that you're going to be looking for anyway.
And Mary's a good resource for digging stuff up.
Forensic Googling.
Forensic Googling. Absolutely.
So, would you like to make a motion that we appoint?
I would like to make a motion that we appoint each of, and all of the volunteers to the search committee.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I want to thank you guys for volunteering.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah.
So, Mary, you have all their emails?
Yep, I'll put together some stuff tonight.
And you'll get a letter saying you're appointed and that you have to take the ethics training,
Which is
Yes.
online.
which is
That's fair.
online.
It's easy.
And you can answer the same question over and over again until you find the right answer. Because that's how our ethics are. There, you get to
All
see all of them.
right. Thank you guys
Well,
very
thank
much.
you for volunteering.
You just scared them.
I'm on the agenda again later
Yeah,
on. You want me to hang around?
at the very end, only because I don't think you're gonna do interviews tonight. You have 2 applicants for fence viewer, and I didn't know if you wanted to do those interviews at the same time or interviews at all.
Well, Susan Roberts isn't here.
and she's not here.
And
I didn't want to jump the gun and start setting up appointments.
there's only, there's
Two applicants for 2 jobs.
2 applicants
That's
for 2
correct.
jobs, okay.
Do you want to do that another night, or do you want to do that with him here?
Oh, here's the interview question.
Well, I mean, as long as you're here, I would say, what is your interest in being a fence viewer?
Well, it seems like a pretty simple job. I don't imagine we'll get a whole lot of disputes here in Berlin about fencing.
Barry, what do you think about that?
What's up? But, like I said, I'm available. I like to get out. I'm kind of gregarious with people, so,
Are you diplomatic?
when I need to be.
All right.
I mean, really, 99% of fence disputes are usually not about the fence itself. It's usually something else going on that,
And you have the capacity to sort of read plans, deeds, things like that?
yeah, I mean, you can follow a plot plan and, map things out and see where things are sitting. And hopefully, if they've done things correctly, they've got their building permit and whatever else is necessary, depending upon what they've built. But,
And you've read the description of this position?
yeah.
I'm trying to find here. There is no description on here.
I think it's part of that email, it's what I sent to Garth to put up on the website, but maybe not right, is part of page 1 there? No?
No.
Okay, I can get that.
Well, I mean, I read it and thought, it sounds like, I just really didn't understand the capacity there.
Well, it's, I think it harkens back to an era when information was stored in people's brains rather than in, pictures and bits and so on, and that it's really somebody who needs to, from time to time, acquaint themselves with bounds and so on, familiar with them, and be able to give evidence of them if that's required. It's very seldom. Barry, when was you had?
It's about settling boundary disputes.
Yeah.
It's, in this day and age, if people don't want to hire a surveyor to settle a dispute, this is one method that can be used if the parties are satisfied, and if they aren't, they end up going to court.
Yeah.
All right, that was my question.
And
How
more
much? How
often
much?
nowadays, they end up going to court
Yeah.
than calling a fence viewer. But the fence viewers, I think there's supposed to be 2 or more, are an alternative for local people to settle something if they can settle it that way.
So who would refer you to the fence viewer? Who would refer you? I mean, how would you know? I mean, if I would never
People
have
would,
known that
basically
there was
appeal, like going
Actually,
to arbitration.
The other day, Sergeant Geis had a neighbor dispute in town, and he wanted to know who the fence viewer was so that he could send them in the right direction to hear them.
Okay.
It's sort of like alternative dispute resolution or arbitration.
Okay. All righty.
Still interested?
Sure. I mean, really, I think it's, like you said, it's probably 99% diplomacy
Right.
as far as tact and dealing with people. Somebody's upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what are you upset about? What needs to happen to make you happy? Go talk to the other person, find out what's going on back and forth, and sometimes you're gonna find out it had nothing to do with defense at all. It's, somebody's trees hanging over their yard and they're upset about it. Defense is some way to lash out, but, you just gotta kind of work your way through those things, and it's a matter of calming people down and getting them to look at it rationally, and then figuring out what the plot plan actually says the line is, and where is the fence at, and does it meet town ordinances, or, if it's, gotta have a permit to be over a certain size or height, or if it's a retaining wall, or whatever the case may be. You know, are the permits in place? Did they get everything done legally? And then it's a matter of, all right, sometimes you just gotta explain it and say, that's the way it is. I mean,
There's a nice treatise on
and
this
if
online, too.
they wanna take it to court, well,
No, don't worry about it.
Plus,
you know, that's their choice, but, you know, you try the alternate method first, and sometimes it just takes a disinterested third party to look at it and get people to see that the big deal isn't really such a big deal.
Okay.
Well, I think
Yeah.
that's sound. I would be willing to make that appointment.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. There you go.
Infinitely.
Yeah.
Two jobs in one,
Yeah, it's just,
2 jobs in 15 minutes.
yeah.
You stay here much longer, you don't know what you're gonna end up with. Is there a letter in here somewhere?
No, because you hadn't anticipated that, but
Okay.
I can do that one for Chris to sign, or I can sign it if you want on your behalf, just for the minutes of the meeting.
no, I mean, we voted, so
We voted it,
you can compose a letter and Chris can sign it.
And I'll send
Do you want Susan Roberts to come in, or do you just want to appoint her?
No, I could come in.
Okay, well then we'll,
Did she used to be on the CBA? Yeah, I think she
Yeah.
did. Okay, I'm just trying to place.
so why don't you ask Susan Roberts to come in?
The 22nd.
Yeah.
Anything else for me?
Nope.
Not much you want to volunteer for something else.
You'll get an appointment, you
Yes.
know, and have to be sworn in by the town clerk.
Oh, good, that's easy. I can come by anytime.
There you go, and your ethics examination will cover both of these.
Yes.
Right.
So there you go.
All right, thank you much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, we have an appointment with the Historical Committee regarding the interim use of town office space during curatorial building replacement.
With the construction projects going on up at the town hall and the Bullet House, we have a distinct problem coming up in the next year of what we do with the historical collection while all this work is being done. And in the case of the curatorial building in particular, it's got to be torn down early in the project, and its replacement will not be completed until the end of the project. So we need a place to put the historical collection. We've cast about a little bit. We've looked at the Red Fire Station upstairs, and there is space there that could be available, but it's less than secure, and it's in a building with vehicles with gasoline in them downstairs.
They
Doesn't
vehicles now?
make it
Yeah.
What do they keep them?
Highway truck?
2 of the highway trucks.
Oh, really?
Couple of highway trucks, yeah.
I thought we had problems with the silver.
No, you're thinking the rescue squad, the little tiny one.
Oh, got
Yeah.
it.
That had
Okay.
a seal problem.
Yes.
And we can put some things there that are not critical, but much of the collection is too sensitive to put there. So I've been trying to come up with something more secure, and I was consulting with Keith Clemmer about it, and he suggested the attic space, the unused attic space over the police station. And that could be a good solution for us for now. It's a temporary thing. The chief problem the space has is that there's no floor in most of it.
Yeah.
And
Last time I was in there wasn't a floor. I thought something had changed.
yeah, there's some plywood there, but not near enough. And so we need to get some plywood for it. And Keith said he thought he had some that might work. And it also has occurred to me that if we handle it right, maybe we can start to clean out our building and pull up the plywood that's that floor and bring that down and use it too. So we'll work on that.
As long as you're not putting holes in my green community sponsored flooring that's been put in there, because they ripped up all the, you saw all the insulation that's piled up on top?
Oh, I haven't been in there lately.
Well,
been
so they took everything up and they put foam board down and they've glued the whole thing together. And then they put all of the insulation on top of that, so it's got a double layer. So if you're gonna put a floor
So the
down,
insulation is sticking up over the joist then?
it's just piled up over the foil foam board that's all over the joists now.
So is there any insulation between the joists, or is it just the foam board on the joists?
Foam board on the joists, all
And then the
joined
insulation's on
together.
top?
Yes.
Oh, so we can't put it on the joist. I guess this won't work.
Well, and we have, yeah, I mean, you need to go up there.
That's supposed to be expansion space for stuff.
Well, when we did it, we said we knew that when it was gonna be expanded, the whole thing would have to be redone. But at this point, when we did it, it didn't look like at any point we were gonna have a full-time fire force that would be using that. So there's a walkway down the center of it. It's about,
Do you want to take the key and go look at it?
yeah.
I'll go in there with Keith sometime and we'll look through.
And it's not conditioned space either. It's just the attic, so it gets hot in the summer and cold.
Oh, I know that. And I'm looking for something that we can use for a year.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be satisfactory as a long-term place at all, but
What is the time frame as to when you wanted to move the things in?
well, the reason we're at it right now is we really need to move a few things in the boardhouse in order to start that project. The other project is going to start in the spring, we anticipate. So by that time, we need to move out of that other building. So our plan was to, get started with all of this, and it'll enable us to work on it over a period of time.
What about the quote-unquote Council on Aging room that is down at the end of the hall?
They use that for yoga, for meetings.
And those things couldn't be done in another room upstairs for a year?
I don't think they'd want to give that room up because the office is right off the room.
Okay.
So then you've got the gymnasium, which...
Is used for voting?
No,
Oh.
I'm sorry, the old
Exercise.
library is
The
now
exercise
all
room.
exercise equipment, and then the previous cafeteria is for voting and for public safety training and everything.
Well, that's all in use, yeah.
What about storage like underneath around here, underneath?
I don't know. I don't know how filled up that stuff is now. And the other thing is, we needed a place to lock. The thing is, that area is locked up, and the only people that go up there are people that were, people working on the HVAC system or something like that, and we could have that so it would be a pretty secure place.
Is the gymnasium used?
The chief has designs on that.
You mean where they have all the exercise equipment?
Is it actually used?
He says it is.
Okay.
Well, there's the storage room, which got a little cleaned out, but I don't know how much is still down
It's not
there.
close enough room.
Is there anything you can do to the area he's asking about, so he could use it?
Well, I mean, I guess you could put plywood on top of it, but when you nail the holes in, you have to seal it, or the whole point of doing that project was that all we had were joists, and they had put plastic in it, and put staples, and had holes in it, it wasn't sealed, and then they threw insulation on top of it. So they took all the insulation out, all the plastic, and they sealed the whole top of it.
Yeah.
And then they took the old insulation and threw that on top of the foam board.
But theoretically, at least for a section of it, you wouldn't necessarily even have to nail down the plywood, but you could lay plywood on top
Right,
of
that's
the
what I was
rigid
thinking.
That's also.
insulation.
You'd have to throw all the previous, so it's stacked fairly high with yellow.
I understand. I mean, you obviously, for that year, you'd have to move
I don't know
that
how much
stuff out of
stuff
the
you
way.
have.
Well, we need 500 or 600 square feet of space to
Which is
pile
a
up our
fair
stuff.
amount of that space.
A fair amount of it.
About half or so, isn't it?
Well, I would think it was less than half, but it might not be. We've got a building that's 25 feet square up there that we've got full of stuff, and most of it needs to go somewhere else. Some of it won't have to, And some of it could go to less secure storage, as I said, but some of it needs to be in good storage. And I can also talk to the town clerk and see whether we can squeeze some of it into the vault, but that would only be a few things that could do that with.
Well, if you go up with Keith and he feels that he's not going to be disturbing the
We'll do
airtightness.
some more study about it. I came in because I thought I could kind of get this thing started, and we'll study it some more.
Well, and I think the other thing is, it may not be a single solution, that if we have some room downstairs in the storage room and some room over there, then it doesn't all have to be necessarily in one.
It doesn't all have to
place.
be. The big thing is for it to be limited access. There aren't many people
So
that
who
have
goes
access.
up above the fire station?
Nobody.
Yeah.
That's why I said it's a good place.
Okay, but you're concerned that,
Oh, up there.
yeah.
Well, the Boy Scouts have stuff up there, and there may be somebody more that has stuff up there, and as I say, but it's not a good,
Environment?
not a good environment because of the gasoline downstairs. We think about vehicles as not being a great problem, but in fact, they can be. And
Yeah, I can't think of any other building that has.
but I was also thinking about a space like the Council on Aging room, and because this building does have more space than we actually need, we could easily move by scheduling. We could easily make it work with one less space somewhere in order to do something like this for a temporary period. This other one I just thought was great because it wouldn't displace anybody else.
Well, I mean, if I was gonna pick a room, I'd take the small meeting room and use that,
Well, that's another possibility.
because, you know, it's,
Push a couple tables out, then it's
yeah,
just totally
it's
open.
just, it's totally open space.
Yes, and that could,
And that locks and everything.
And it's HVAC
Find place for these
controlled.
boxes over here at
yeah.
the same time.
I mean, a room like that, we could put a lot in. And I would think that plus, what we could do up there. And we can keep some stuff in parts of the house, but we've got to deal with at least 2 areas of the house that we've got to get cleaned out right now, too.
Yeah.
So,
Be for you.
And also see what's downstairs, because if we can give you the small room,
yeah.
some space there, and if there's room in storage downstairs, there's 3 places.
No, that's true. We could put some stuff down here that was, I don't know what's down there right now. I need to go on
I
down there.
think the police chief said he's thrown out the empty boxes and
Oh, and yeah, but that room's loaded full of file cabinets, has a leaking issue.
has a leaking issue.
Yep. There's a corner of the file room that takes on water. And it has rusty file cabinet bottoms to show for it.
Okay.
Well, we've got that, but we've also got other space that's right under here,
Yeah.
What if
up
that
on the
ramp-
ledge.
Yep.
And I don't know what's in those areas now.
Yeah. Well, let's look and see what's there.
And some of that could be used for some things. But something like the small meeting room could take a lot of what needs to be in good
It's a
storage.
good idea, actually.
Yeah, because when you're saying about us using space, rarely do we have every meeting room in use at the same time.
That's why I say scheduling.
I do the scheduling. I mean, people
If we-
will use rooms without asking first, but that doesn't matter. But there's never really a conflict in everyone being able to get a room when they want one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And if we had a particularly busy time, it would be possible to, by some scheduling changes, to make everything work.
Well, we have the boardroom.
Yeah, the boardroom, I mean.
People
for that
hide in
matter-
there for their meetings.
Hearing room.
And for that matter, you can, if we had to stretch it over the course of the year, then we could, occasional times when the Council on Aging room could be used for a meeting,
Yeah.
Several of us meet in the file room that isn't scheduled.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I think the small room was probably a good choice.
and, yeah.
And you can put all your stuff that needs to be in conditioned air in there.
Yeah, and the other thing is that we can certainly, if we put a couple tables and some chairs in the old cafeteria downstairs, that would create another one that, if you really had, a first Monday or Tuesday of the month and people had to meet down there. Is it, no, it's
You mean in the hallway?
The voting.
The voting room.
the voting room.
Police
Oh, well,
kind
there's
of,
chairs and tables in there all
Yeah,
the time.
all I'm saying is that, you know, we could,
it'd be
more-
room, yeah.
if we had to, we could more actively use that room.
Well, that's scheduled by police and fire, so it's just a different scheduling.
Yeah, it's not big. They don't have a lot of conflict with that though either.
That's the
Yeah.
voting room.
Right,
No,
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and
it's on a-
police and fire actually report to us, so I don't think we should have too much trouble with that.
Yeah,
Oh.
okay.
Only the police, the fire is a strong chief.
We'll work on a plan of the whole business
Okay?
and get back, and I'll be in touch with Keith a little too, and see what all.
Yeah, I think that's a nice
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My insulation will
Yeah.
run in.
Seriously.
They just made a hole in my kitchen today, and all the insulation came down. There's probably one that when we seal it up.
Sign those well.
Yep. Once we seal it up, though, it's gonna be like a time capsule.
Alrighty, let's see. Bill schedules. Selectmen expenses, $595 for training for, wait a minute, don't say it, procurement officer.
If you want me to go do it, but you have a lot of projects now where I'm being asked pretty regularly.
Well, I think you need to go.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just not built into our budget, so I don't know if you
We
want,
have some elections expenses, and we'll just charge it to that, and
Oh,
here
yes.
we come at the end of the year.
do you want the FinCom to be given any kind of heads up that it's using?
How much are we talking about?
$509, $600, plus you're gonna want, driving back and forth.
It's like
And
8%
tolls.
of our budget for the year.
Well, you could send a note to FinCom and say that by law, we have to have a chief procurement officer and you need to take the training.
They actually like it when they get a heads up.
Yeah.
Okay. See.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we need all three on this? Two?
Just
Just two.
two. Yeah.
Okay, we have reimburse Leanne Leahy for $140 for GoDaddy, which is the
Website.
email marketing up and running 1 year renewal.
Motion approved. That's from the 1870 Town Hall.
Yep,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have a common victualler's license for the Subway.
Second Subway.
Oh, there's gonna be a second Subway at Highland Commons. Oh,
Well, one's at Solomon Pond on our side.
Oh, right.
and
no, this is all for this,
This is
just
at
this
Highland
one.
Commons.
Correct.
Yeah, gotcha.
Now they want what kind of license?
Sell food.
Okay.
So do I hear a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, so we have the issue of a one-day charitable liquor license for the Berlin Food Pantry. How did you find, did you look for this, or did someone tell
I
you?
definitely didn't go hunting for this, except for,
For what?
So the food, we normally give the food pantry a one-day liquor license, and the BJ's Liquor Place donates the alcohol, and it's all fundraising. And, well, Mary can tell you
yeah,
this.
so what happened was St. Joseph's said, after many years of not seeking a liquor license for their fall festival, their secretary wanted to know what they needed to do to get a one-day license. So I looked at our application for one-day liquor licenses, which we haven't, we did use for the food pantry last year. We did not use for SVT. And we also don't use it for Crystal Lakes charitable golf tournament, so it's kind of a mishmash when we decide to use it. But in the application is, if any of the questions are answered yes, then it triggers the need for a one-day license. where for the town to be the local licensing authority on it, you have to use purchased alcohol, purchased from an ABC-approved source. And that had,
So you can't have donated alcohol,
and it can't be purchased either from,
and you couldn't buy it from them. It has to be from a wholesaler.
right,
Because of our bizarre Massachusetts liquor laws, you can't buy something that you're gonna sell again from a liquor store.
right.
So in essence, they can't have they can't donate the alcohol
Right.
because that's against the law. And they can't buy it from, what was the name of that?
The wine cellar.
Wine cellar.
RWG.
They can't buy it from the wine cellar because they're not a wholesaler. So I don't know how they can have a fundraiser if we can't give them a license.
So I think Selectmen Valley trustees in the end did go to one of the approved places. I think they got it from the Neshoba Winery, just from memory off the top of my head. But I know that we discussed that with them.
Yeah, but this is a donation that
That it can't ever
they
be
do.
donated. It says in bold,
Yeah, but I'm saying
correct.
that,
Yeah, I know.
So what about purchasing it for like $1 or something? Is
well,
that
they still
purchasing?
couldn't
Because
purchase
they're
it
not a
because they're not a wholesaler.
Okay.
Unless the wine cellar's wholesaler is on that list. But
Well,
they-
why don't you go back and talk to Fran and have her talk to the wine cellar people?
I had talked to Fran about this already, and she was going to have Attorney Burke look into it, but I haven't heard back.
Okay,
I mean-
well, there's nothing that we can do then.
Right, I mean, otherwise I'd prepared everything, but then this started unraveling when I started rereading the state's website and looking at our own application.
I think they should auction off the drinks instead of charging for them. And then you could be auctioning off donated goods.
But you can't have
It's
donated.
the sourcing of the alcohol
No, no,
in the
no.
first place.
You cannot serve, okay?
Yep.
Under an alcohol license, all right? I was saying, if you auction off the bottles and people can open them themselves, I'm being slightly cute, but it's like, this is ridiculous. You know?
It is ridiculous. I mean,
Well, maybe the wholesaler is on the list, though.
No,
No.
look, they're
For the wine.
not.
Oh, they're not?
Mm-mm.
You've already looked, okay.
Because in fact, I mean, just bearing with me here, that if you had a charity auction, okay, and some of the donated goods were wine, that wouldn't activate this, because it's not serving.
we would need a liquor license then.
Yeah, it's the point of serving on site, right?
Yeah,
So you give them a liquor license for an auction that people can win a bottle and then drink it. I'm not sure about that.
it's just so ridiculous.
Well, you know, maybe Fran, I'm sure that other people have come upon this same thing.
Oh, it's a state regulation.
I don't know that everybody follows through on this, since we have given them this license for,
1 year.
well, previous years, we've given it out too.
I don't think so for the food pantry. It's only been 1 year since I've been here. I've been here 3 years.
I've gone to at least 2.
With alcohol served?
Well, we all have a food pantry.
Red Soul cups, or were they actually dispensing
Isn't there an
alcohol?
exception if there's a tasting or something?
It's just a tasting. You don't get, I mean, you get a small taste. There's just a lot of them to taste.
Do you want me to send you the link so you can, I mean, it's bold. It's like, it pretty much screams out that you can't, but maybe I'm misreading it.
Why don't you send me the link? I'll play it.
There's gotta be.
I know. It just seems like, yeah, it's not in here.
What?
The section that you were
No, it's in
emailed to
What I
us.
was getting at was,
It's in the email.
you know, there are situations in which
Here it is.
wine merchants or Neshoba or whatever
Right.
host a tasting party and then donate the proceeds to, so I'm just thinking.
Well, the
is there a way
Shoba is
to
a little
that
bit
way?
different because they produce it. Yeah, I understand.
Let me take a look, see if there's any way to, you know, maybe characterize it in a way that could avoid this problem?
Special licensees cannot purchase alcoholic beverages from a package store and cannot accept donations from anyone.
Here's what I'm thinking, okay? If they don't purchase anything or receive anything, but the wine shop gives a sponsored tasting and donates it to charity, maybe we can avoid it that way. So let me take a look.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. All right.
Yes, I've gone back and forth on the ACO thing. I've given them language that's very clear about the idea that not only will the terms of the judgment apply, but we retain the right to enforce it, so we don't get caught in trying to get DEP to enforce our judgment. So that's the last thing that went back and forth.
Well, I'm not gonna vote for this unless I think the neighbors need to come in and also hear about it. I mean, because it affects them. And, you know, looking at that, when you go and read the actual law in the state website, it's for gravel pits and,
I understand.
well, I'm just saying, it specifically says that it's for gravel pits and, I don't know, quarries, I think it was.
All right, well, if you would like me to respond to them that before, I mean, I've gone back with.
I would like someone from the DEP to come and talk to us and invite all the neighbors to come and discuss exactly,
Well, that's fine. That's the first I've heard of that request, so that's fine.
That's because it's the first time I made that request.
Yeah. No, I think that's fine.
Because I have to say, after reading all that stuff, I was feeling like, I don't want to end up like when we did this, the Conservation Commission got overrode by the...
I'm very lukewarm about it myself, so otherwise I would have had it done by now. Before you got that idea.
Do you know someone that I should be reaching out to the DEP through either Weston and Sampson or Town Council, or should I just make an inquiry to the DEP about trying to get it? I think their date would be the hardest, right?
Let me ask Weston and Sampson if they know somebody. Okay?
Otherwise, there's names and all
Well,
that.
actually, just why don't you email George and Joel and see if they have any suggestions.
You don't want Town Council there at the same time, or just DEP at this?
Well, maybe, but we haven't even thought about scheduling it yet.
Okay. Okay.
All right, on to the highway barn,
Yep.
OPM.
Do we have something?
Do we have more than what we had before?
Just what Larry sent out.
Did you read the email from Larry?
No.
Well,
Well, he was pretty much just talking about how he thought that they could handle
yeah.
this between Keith and Tom.
It was not a redrafting of the grid with specific
No.
names to
No.
tasks.
I mean, do you want to take the time to read it, or do you want to talk about
No, I mean, we
this?
want the specific, I mean, unless we're changing our request,
No,
we
I,
want to know who's doing what. So,
And my question was, that I wrote down on this thing, is who are we waiting for on this? Are we,
Keith was going to have
is it Keith
this
or is
done,
it Tom, or
and then
was
he
it?
gave it to Larry.
Larry.
And then this took, I don't know why it took so long, but it did. And then when it came, it was just those couple of paragraphs. It was like,
well, plus, I think that one of us should be in on the weekly meetings. I mean, the building committee,
And I have told Keith, and he agreed that would be fine, and will let me know when the meetings are, but he hasn't.
well,
And maybe they haven't had any.
Yeah, no, I don't think they've had any.
is he
Okay.
still away?
He is. He comes back Friday.
Okay.
My other question, since we're talking about Keith, was the email from Conservation, and should I attend the meeting that Walter's requesting Keith to be at to explain
when is the
to him?
meeting?
Let's see. It's the 17th of August.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I shouldn't have one, but yeah, thank you.
I think you should.
Just
Just
you know, what
stay
are
in.
these
I'm
concerns?
sorry, what was the time I got involved in cookies?
August
Short attention
17th.
span. August 17th?
Yeah, so it must be next week sometime.
The 17th is,
Oh, next Wednesday, not this one.
Okay.
Next Wednesday.
And it was about, what was it about? The,
When work is being done on highway jobs that impacts conservation, they
Right.
want to be
they want to be notified.
notified, maybe have them come in and even describe the job. Sounds like they felt like
sounds like a
Was this
job.
occasioned by something, or?
he wasn't specific.
There was something at the end of it that sounded like the conservation was upset with something or
I gotta
other.
put that in miscellaneous correspondence.
Let's see. Highway, town barn documentation.
Unless it was last meeting? No, it was this meeting.
I don't know, I just read it again today.
It's way deep. It's number 40. So you actually be easier to count from the back of the green file. Freon. Okay, keep going back.
That Freon thing was crazy.
Whole study. Keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. Highway Department, that's it.
I have an ethics-related question.
Well, all right, well, wait a minute. A timely example of this is the proposed handicapped accessible trail at Berlin Meadows. Since it will be built on conservation land, it's the commission's obligation to file a notice of intent and conduct a legally required hearing. That was the only thing that was in it.
Yeah.
I thought Concom had asked Highway Department to assist with that.
Yes.
Okay.
But what they're saying is that they themselves have to file a notice of intent.
Oh, okay. So if we're talking about that,
Technically, the commission should have been consulted prior to the filling that took place on South Street at the junction of Jones Road. Well, it has to be on the two corners that are,
Not too far from the dump.
yeah, on the dump side.
I hadn't noticed it.
I didn't either.
Okay.
Is that where that telephone pole is broken in half? And being held up by another one?
I would also point out that
Oh, you joined my double pole.
the Sudbury Valley Trustees is the holder of a conservation easement on that property, and before that specific project is done, it should probably be discussed with Sudbury Valley Trustees as well.
The Berlin Meadows?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just was gonna go and try to understand the issues if, if that's your pleasure. Want me to go?
Yes.
And I'll let him know that I'll go. When is he expected back?
Friday.
Friday, okay. Well, I'll send him an email, he'll get it eventually.
My ethics question was, is it permissible to do an ad for Doug Colwell's chocolate chip cookies during the Selectmen's meeting, because they're really good?
Right.
Are they chocolate chip? Are they chocolate chip?
Yeah.
Maybe they're raisin.
Would you like?
Yeah, oh, sure.
There are some nuts in them, in case
That's
that
okay.
makes a difference to you, okay?
No, that's even better.
Make sure you guys sign that thank you note. Go to the thank you note.
He must be quite a baker.
Here it is, right here. Yum. Okay, so we're done with the OPM.
And you need to sign it too, 'cause you waive
I
it.
know, I'm wiping them out.
Put some chocolate on it.
Yeah, I think it may have a chocolatey fingerprint.
We already did the fence viewer, so you're gonna ask Suzanne to come through.
Yes.
Council on Aging,
Oh, did you do town council, which was Jay?
no, earthwork bylaw.
And he basically said it should be exempt.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
There's 2 issues for town council, that was one of them.
Okay, so that's exempt, and what was the other issue? Non-residents, and that one turned out to be affirmative also. Okay.
Yep, that's great.
Is WRT, was that
With
a,
regard to,
okay.
sorry.
So many acronyms, I'm telling you. It's hard to get the hang of them all.
Town council, we did fence viewer, council on aging, work off administration, requests clarification. So this is a question from Peggy.
Want me to boil it?
Oh, I know that the BOS voted to approve town employees participating in the program, not sure of what the parameters. Can an employee participate in the program as a worker for a department for which he has administrative authority, although it is not the department for which he receives compensation? And her question is the Council on Aging chairman as a driver in the bus program. So, is he getting paid as a driver in the bus program?
Currently, no.
And will he be getting paid?
She's asking is it appropriate if he has oversight of the Council on Aging to be a driver through the work-off program where the management is the Council on Aging as the managing, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's actually further complicated
Like
that the Council on
conflict of
Aging even
interest or
oversees the work-off program. But putting that aside, is it appropriate for any department head, I don't want to pick on anybody, let's say the town clerk wants to volunteer for senior work-off, and she volunteers in her own department, and she signs off on the work-off person
No.
doing,
You can't do that.
okay, that's not, the policy doesn't specifically exclude that now.
No, but the state law
The
excludes
state
that.
law says
She's just
that
saying.
that you can't, I can't remember the wording now, but it's very, I put it in the policy guidelines, it's very clear.
Yeah, send the policy guidelines to Peggy, because I think it's covered there.
She has them, I gave them to her on a flash, I gave George a flash drive with it updated everything that included.
But this just may be continuation of the fact that she says that she's never gotten that. Maybe, because I don't, it's not online either, so it hasn't been.
Well, it's not online because I'm not in charge of that, they are.
Yeah.
And, all right, I will email them to Peggy.
Okay,
And it's state law that you can have employees work, but the employee who is in charge of the program can't participate in,
The program.
The program.
In the department where they have authority.
right.
Yes.
It's kind of like you can't volunteer in your own kid's classroom sometimes.
Sort of, yes.
It is.
All right. Is that okay?
Yep.
All right. Council on scheduling confirmation, earthwork permit public hearing for September 6th at 7:15.
I will not be here on September 6th.
September 6th?
so the thing
Are you
with that is
here
it
then?
takes
I'm
21
here.
days advance notice by publication in the Telegram and Gazette.
Right,
And later in the month of September, Judy's not here.
right.
So,
I
Well,
am,
yeah,
but yeah.
I think, I don't have a problem if, I think Thomas would be a better choice to be here than me
okay.
due to his lawyerness.
I'll push it out a week then?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That was gonna be this Tuesday, the 6th, anyhow, the day after Labor Day. It might be better if any neighbors had a concern to do it the next week anyhow, which is the 12th.
Actually, can you make it the 19th?
Okay.
Because the only reason for that is, I'm taking pretty much I have to take 2 weeks vacation as part of audit requirements at the bank. And Hannah's coming up from North Carolina the first 2 weeks of September. So originally I was going to do it in late August, and now I'm doing it in the first 2 weeks of September. So I may not be here the 5th and the 12th.
Oh, 5th and 12th. okay.
Yeah.
So if you're not here the 12th and I'm not here the 12th, then there's not going to be a meeting?
Yeah, then we have to skip that one.
Okay.
Well, I might be able to get a lot done then, all by myself.
Yeah, there you go.
That meeting will go really fast.
Meeting adjourned.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, you're away the 6th too, huh?
I'm here the 6th.
Tom might be away the 6th.
I will be, I said, I'm going to be out the
Tom,
first
okay.
2 weeks of September.
Gotcha, okay.
So Chris and I will be here for the 6th.
Okay.
And then it will just be Chris on the 12th.
And then I will be here for the...
That's great, because that's my birthday, that way you don't have to do it at night.
Oh,
I bank on that.
There you go.
That's fine.
We did it on purpose.
I love it.
I think that's fine.
my brother is here the 19th, but I think he'll be gone by 7 o'clock.
Oh, he could sit in the back and watch.
Well, no, he'll be on the plane going home.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay, and Selectmen, August 24th at Devon's Dispatch. I will not be here. Maybe Chris wants to drive up to Devon's.
After I go to concert.
Or we
I'll
can
put myself
always,
up if you want me to, I can go, because it's on my
Okay.
way to work, basically, it's just over the town line.
And how long is it? Like an hour or
No,
something?
not even.
It's like a
usually.
half hour.
Yeah,
Then, yeah, would that be all right?
I don't care, I'm
It
just,
seems,
Yeah, that would be fine.
it seems silly.
okay.
okay, so Mary's gonna go to that.
Okay, that's great.
And Mass Broken Stone is
Just a reminder.
our next meeting.
Right.
Okay. That's August 22nd. Yep, and I'll be here for that.
Okay. Online cloud storage for committees?
That's for the Rail Trail Study Committee, only because it's the battle of the documents and the experts. But there's a lot of documentation that I can't email. In fact, some of them, Tom, are so big I can't print them. I'm not sure why. I had Tom Galvin look at them, and there's so many fine lines and detail to some of the earlier maps that you sent. It just refuses to print them. So what I didn't know is, we don't have any online clouding like Dropbox or Google Drives that we pay for, because this would trip having to pay for this anyhow. Do you want me to get a subscription to, okay. I could
The
probably
question
run it
was,
for everybody,
could we, and, people can figure out
how to share.
how to share.
But you gave me a thumb drive and you asked me to share it, and I do want to share it. I can go buy 4 more thumb drives.
And you can't email those that are on the thumb drive?
They're millions of, they're quite
Okay,
large.
see, I got those from Mary McKelk. Those were not mine.
Oh,
The stuff that I sent
initially.
were the PDFs.
2 of them I can't print.
Yeah.
Most of them I printed.
Yeah, the thumb drive stuff was from Mary
Okay,
and was a list of stuff.
so don't share it again.
You should be able to put it up on, as a shareable Google Doc. I don't think I've shared documents, I don't buy anything. But I think you'd have to have a Google Plus account, or,
Yeah, we don't have a Google Plus account.
Well, I don't have a
no?
Gmail or a Google account, and I do stuff on that.
Okay.
Really?
So,
Yeah.
All right, let me poke around at it, I guess.
I-
Otherwise, I was gonna go to Staples and buy 4 thumb drives, and then, but anytime you wanted to share more large documents with one another, I'd say to them, bring me back their thumb drives.
And you can't download
To
and
go and
email
look.
them.
I can get, I took them off that thumb drive and I put them, I saved them.
I
There's
You can't email
PDFs from her.
They kind of crash, they're so huge, they crash a recipient's email account. In other words, they didn't even go through.
Recipient's email account.
Yeah, I'm
How
not
do you know
sure.
they crashed the recipient's email?
I'm trying to send it to myself, and I've never had a
I don't know
problem
that
with,
much about.
I've never had a
I don't know
problem
what,
with my
I think
three.
they just
email
email is too
Mary
large, or
Probably gonna,
We can't.
I didn't know there were gigs, 'cause
AirDrop.
she already emailed me a bunch of stuff, and I
I don't know.
did
I mean, I
successfully
didn't
save
try
them
to,
here.
I didn't try to move it to
I don't
anything.
know.
Some of them may
Looks like
be.
it.
Sometimes I
We
can
have
put
a
them
3D
into
cloud
Dropbox
membership
and then
with
read
zip
it.
files,
Yeah.
and we're out of the free membership. I'm like, do I start buying software to
You need to talk to your
IT?
IT guy.
And, Mary seemed pretty savvy. Maybe she can put them into a zip file and send them.
She asked about Dropbox, and
I understand that.
Yeah.
We don't have a Dropbox.
No, but maybe she does, but the only thing about Dropbox is it can't be used to deliberate, and the public would have
No,
access.
I don't
Yeah, no.
think we
Don't
should
go
get
there.
involved in that because we don't have a public forum for it.
Yeah, right.
But
I think you can
you
share
can
on
ask Mary
Dropbox, though.
if she can take
Share on Google Docs, I have to go look it up.
Yeah.
the stuff that was on the thumb drive and convert it to a zip file,
Wait, no, no,
so that then you can forward it.
I will
And then just have to slightly lower
go
tab.
there.
Yep.
Do you have any idea, Mary, why the LLA rules, regs, policies, procedures, that PDF wouldn't download?
The
for me?
LLA, the local licensing authority one that I sent out about the liquor licensing?
Right. I don't know.
No, I don't know.
Maybe your phone doesn't have any more room because you never delete anything.
At least this time I typed your email
Why don't you
address
talk?
correctly.
Yes, you did.
Oh my.
Okay,
Do
do
we
we,
know what the attachment, I can print it for you tonight.
Well, unless maybe because you sent the two PDFs together, they were probably pretty large, maybe just send that one.
Okay.
do we have any more business?
Nope.
Can I just ask a couple of questions?
Mhm.
Okay. Just curious, I saw on, I believe it was the budget, something about the mosquito control. We do have mosquito control going on?
Central Mass.
Okay.
They're located on the
Someone
road.
was asking me, so,
Yes.
okay. And the subject of the reseed chapter 61A, what kind of land is that?
Agricultural.
Okay, so it's not buildable?
No, it is
No, it's
buildable.
buildable.
It is
The
buildable?
one where they wanted to put the soccer field.
Yeah, it's the field across the street from Spooky World. And
Oh, all right,
Beyond that.
because the map says it's on the other side of the street when I,
I think it's the Spooky World.
I thought it was the.
The one across from
I
Spooky
thought it
World.
was the one that originally we had a first one was for the soccer field, right?
Right.
Across the street?
Yeah, that's what my understanding was too.
okay,
Cities have the second right of refusal on it.
Right.
okay. The department head meeting, how'd that go? You did go,
It was
right?
good.
Yeah, I did go. That was last week.
It was like an hour and 15 minutes. There were 8 people in the room. It was not with boards and committees. It's strictly department head.
Right.
And it is, I think it is a good opportunity to just share information. It's not policy making, and it's not going to,
Right.
I mean, it'll be talking about capital issues, maybe in a
No, I
passive
just
way.
wondered how it went.
Yeah, I thought it was
Well.
productive, but then.
It had a box of Joe and it had some
Munchkins.
Munchkins.
There you go.
There you go.
But it didn't have these, did
No,
it?
it did not.
Yeah, while we're at it, I could update, we had the first meeting of the rail trail.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Committee
How'd
on
that go?
Thursday. That seemed to go fine. The election of officers, and you'll be getting minutes. They understand that you need to get minutes, and they
I can help
talked
them with
about
that.
posting. I think their next meeting is going to be September 15th. I said to them I did not need to attend every meeting, and had no intention of attending every meeting, that they should let me know ahead of time when they
What you-
wanted me to attend, and that I was also there as their liaison if they felt they needed resources, if they needed access to counsel, if they, needed a, letter of introduction to talk to somebody at the state level or something like that. That was the sort of thing that I could help them with.
So who did they elect as chairman?
Mary Porter.
Okay.
Good,
Yeah.
sounds good.
All right.
So, and it was about 45 minutes or an hour. It was an initial meeting, and you'd seen, I put together, a bunch of sort of historical documents and this and that I thought might be helpful. Mary McKelk had some other stuff, which is what we were talking about.
Yeah.
That work out all right, the 3-ring binders and a la carte?
Yeah, no, it was great. It was great. So,
Oh, good.
all right,
All right,
All right.
move to adjourn.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.